Two, and welcome to Stone Soup, everybody. This is another all open mic night, and I would be remiss in my duties to not welcome Melissa Castillo Planez back as an open mic participant. We'll pretend she's doing a micro feature tonight, as well as welcoming back other people who are new to the open mic last week and are here now, and of course people who have been returning week after week or every other week. I do appreciate your presence here. This has been a very good routine for me, one I hope carries on in some capacity even after the pandemic passes. So we're going to get started. I've been taking everyone down in order, more or less in order of when they came to the open mic. I know some people like to be the closers. Blackbird, I'm looking at you. Welcome back. And we're going to get started as soon as possible. Again, out of respect for people who came in here early. And our number one person, in lieu of Patricia Kerrigan not being able to be here, sending love, Patricia. Hope you make it back. We're going to welcome up our new number one for tonight, John Waziak.
Thank you. Okay, so Bill and I were talking about samurai flicks, and so here's a poem from Japan, just for him. It's called Backstage at the No Play. A shrill flute drum beat boom, something primal, duty's austere voice rises from deep in the belly, a belly that prefers a knife to dishonor. With bent knees and straight back, a lone dancer pivots and stomps. Muscles tremble to hold tradition. In the background, a castle dungeon rises like a pelican of plaster and wood from sloping stone walls. Feudalism's ghost nods appreciation from the window. Mrs. Inoue's high school girls have already finished their chorus and carried off book bags of teddy bears and Tom Cruise dreams. Behind the curtain, no players clip cell phones to their belts instead of swords. The only duels they see are on TV. Women in costumes from the Tale of Genji discuss J-pop and U2's latest tour. Turn anywhere in Japan and find a contradiction. Old people nodding to a jazz fusion band at a Shinto shrine. A woman removing thigh-length platform boots to step onto grass mats. What a friend we have in Jesus drifts through the walls of a museum housing Buddhist statues. Uniformed teenagers gather at a baseball diamond 3 blocks from rice wine offerings and chants to the gods. Hey, better swing. I turn for a final picture before hiking to a garden with a 400-year-old tea house. Which is the real Japan? Could a stage exist without bamboo supports? Would the players gather without the stage? Holding his fan like a sword, the dancer turns, the shutter clicks. I leave the castle grounds and enter the 21st century.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice, John.
Hey.
Thanks for getting us started. I'm going to mute everyone again, and I'm going to unmute the next person on the open mic. And this is one who's had an amazing reading at the Boston Poetry Marathon recently. And hopefully she is unmuted. I'm seem to be having some difficulty here. Carol Weston, are you able, can you speak? Can we hear you? Carol?
Hello.
Let me see if I can unmute you.
Nick Cusimano. Nick Cusimano.
Okay, what is... Okay, so I'm unmuting even when I unmute everyone, I cannot unmute her. I'm really trying to see what's going on here. This is
Yeah, just to give you a heads up also, this is Victor. It looks like my chat's been disabled, so.
I saw that on your Facebook. So we're going to skip Carol for the moment, and I already put you down, Victor. Thank you so much. but we're going to go to hopefully someone who can unmute themselves. Bill, are you there?
I'm just about to leave. Let me do it when I come back from MIT.
Okay, strike two. Let's go to the next person on the open mic. And let's go to Mr. Eric Nelson. Mr. Eric Nelson, you are now up.
What am I doing? Okay, caught a little short with nothing new, so I'll go and I'll read something old. And this was a lucky poem in the sense that it actually happened in exactly the way I said it in exactly the way I said it did. And in exactly the way what I saw is what I said. Under my toe in front of the accelerator pedal, there's an old newspaper with an article about the fall of the Berlin Wall. And I'm taking my car to be serviced at the quick oil change place, which is next to the new shopping center, which is next to the old shopping center at the edge of town. I'm filling out the form. And I say, it's a 1970 Plymouth Valiant. That car is older than I am, says the girl behind the counter. I'm waiting in the waiting room. Next to the pot of free coffee that's been on the burner too long, there's a stack of books for sale. Multiple copies of the same book. And it's called Chronicle of the 20th Century, even though the 20th century isn't over yet. And it's marked down. And I ask myself, how can there be a book called Chronicle of the 20th Century if the 20th century isn't over yet? Then I remember, there was somebody on TV who said that this was the end of history. Maybe that's the reason why. Finally, the car is ready. I put my coffee cup in the free litter bag that they hung on the knob of the radio that doesn't work, and I put my credit card receipt in there too. I start the car using the broken key. It still works because the other half of the key is still in the lock. And maybe they're burying the century before it's dead, discounting it. But a 1970 Plymouth Valiant keeps on going forever, even though the odometer turned over a long time ago. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Eric. We have up next, Mr. John Stickney. You're up next, sir.
Hey. Fortune. The longer I read my palm, the thicker my lifeline becomes. It is a gray-blue shag carpet, which I cannot clean. And in the center, hunkered down in front of the TV, the thing which passes for time. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I just fixed Carol Weston's problem. Nancy Dodson, if you can hear me, you can press *6 on your phone and you'll unmute yourself. For some reason, I cannot. I don't know why, but I can't. So press *6 and you should be unmuted. Yeah, because it's very strange, and I don't know why it's like that, but that's the way it is. So Nancy, I hope you can hear me. Just press the star key and then 6, and you should be fine. So now I'm going to go back to the person we should have introduced as number 2. And as I said before, she had an amazing small feature, mini spot in the Boston Poetry Marathon, which you can go back and listen on the Boston Poetry Marathon's YouTube page, which has the entire, everyone's set for the entire 2 nights, I think it was 3 nights and 1 day of performances, over 100 poets, and this was one of them. Let's welcome up Carol Weston.
Well, anyway, Jack Powers had a performance by saxophone by Stan Strickland. And I guess it knocked me out or knocked me in. And out of it came 20 pages. And I will read just some things from the beginning of Peacefire. And then when we read again, I'll do some more. Peacefire. O God, who has let us live long enough to cross the bridges of being out of darkness into the curved light, we shall crack open the churches, and out of that point of cleavage shall spring the Jack in the pulpit of the human spirit. That's Jack. The Jack in the pulpit of the human spirit, blown through by the winds of God. I am placing my foot on the flesh of the human heart, and I shall rise to the proportions God gave me. My dance begins, but the ballroom is eternity, and the light is forgiveness for this human race. For this human race unable to be kind to the animals of its own species. I am in this race. I am a slow beginner. And when I mount the podium, the stars will come in whirlwinds out of the pulsating sky of night and wrap me in their wounds of rhythm. I shall stand while the rivers flow beneath my legs. I shall stand with my head caught close to the yearning, yearned-for sun, where my burning hands reach for its fire. O Prometheus, I walk fire-footed among the bands of children, and only their voices breathe with my heart, and their hands understand my toys. For the first touch of our hands on seashells must be maintained till death. The found stick on the sidewalk is our amulet, and the found light dancing on the stage of time is the blues of the inner wolf of our being, releasing breath long caught under the volcanoes of the earth. And we are the instruments through which it blows. Our breasts, the volcanoes out of which it pours, spilt fire, milk from the gods. Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much, Carol. That was great. Up next, she made her debut on Stone Soup's virtual stage as part of the open mic last week, and it's very thrilling to have her back again. Let's welcome Rafiana Martinez.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to read a two-part poem. The Product of Sin. Our Father, who art in heaven, forgive me, for I have sinned, for being born out of wedlock, not born of love, but born from lust, born into a situation, not a family. Hallowed be thy name. My name is a combination of two people who hate each other. I am the product of the person they hate most. Maybe they even hate me. Perhaps a piece of me hates them too. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Learn to manifest the life in my mind to escape punishments from a scorned woman. Looking like my father didn't help. Looking unlike her didn't help. I read a lot and got straight A's, forgot to wash the dishes. Punishments are laid. Is this the life that awaits me in heaven? Give us this day our daily bread, brought by the hands of our Father, to be cooked by the hands of our mother, expected to be cooked by the hands of our daughters. One day, mommy says, I raised you to be women, not scholars. The next day, mommy says, estudien para que no tenga que depender de ningún hombre. We can't tell which day she's met a papi again. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Mommy's up waiting for papi again. She cries, but I don't bother to ask. Laid in bed, also waiting, my eyes fall heavy. Mommy's eyes are heavy. Papi isn't home. She holds her forgiveness. It's seldom given, although he's never requested, because forgiveness isn't needed if the denial is prioritized. Cheating, denial, fights with slaps, we're forbidden to tell, so we hide it, hide it. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Temptation hits my conscience daily. I want them to separate. A sin in itself, an evil that floats in my mind. I picture lives without them. New parents who don't fight as much. I fight these temptations. My evil thoughts haunt me. I guess I'm evil, born from sin, born from temptation, a manifestation of hate. Forgive me, Father, for I am sin. My therapist says, the first people you trust are your parents. My father wasn't really around, always working. I barely know him. His philosophy was, hang with your mother. Women understand each other better. My mother, a scorned woman, the only white child in the family, the only person who looks like my father, I was the perfect place for her to take out years' worth of oppression. No, I don't trust anyone. My therapist asked, isn't there someone you can trust? Well, in the streets you learn quickly, your friends today are your enemies tomorrow. Your sister can be green with envy, always plotting in secrecy, all the while your man is fucking any woman who lets him. No, there is no one I can trust, not even me, because I betray myself every time I forgive those who wrong me so badly, even against my own better judgment. Confused, unable to understand the perplexity of living in a neighborhood like mine, or even growing up in a family like mine, silently, she gives up on the matter. I see. That must have been hurtful. I think to myself, it only hurts if you let it. I learned hurt is an option, one I chose a long time ago not to give into. So.
Thank you so much, Rafiana, and thank you so much for coming back and welcome back. Hope we keep on seeing you and hearing from you.
That was amazing.
What's that?
That was amazing.
Thank you, Blackbird.
Thank you.
Wow. Hi, my name's Blackbird. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Girl.
Hey, Blackbird.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much.
And up next.
Powerful.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit afterwards. We're going to keep the open mic moving, and you'll hear from Blackbird, of course, later on. Right now, we're going to hear from Mr. Ethan Mackler. You may have to unmute yourself, sir, and then the show can begin. There you go.
All right. Can you hear this?
Yes.
Yes? All right. It's not breaking up or anything?
Not right now.
All right. These are two pieces. And the second which incorporates a piece from James Van. He said I could use a recording of him. And the drums were supplied from a website, from a YouTube channel called Golden Drums.
Scenario, like Bush Gene and Regine, Agent Chad, and criminals must be judged. And former CIA director who knew where all the bodies really been. They were all sociopathic, while Nick, of course, contained both personalities of the past in one in drugs, bifurcated, compartmentalized, and once multiple reckless and direct, even animal creatures were always thinking ahead. Why else would we have ahead?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ethan. Thank you, Ethan. And moving next, he just came up on video. I'm glad he is here. He was technically first, but he left because it was like 5:30, but I like his ambition. And he's been around the poetry scene for a long time in Boston, Cambridge. He's been a part of the Fire of Prometheus, the Barnum and Buddha Poetry Circus, and has not only been a documenter, but videographer of all these events. You can check out his YouTube page, where he's also has his short films and animations. Here comes Mr. Mick Cusimano. Mick, you're up.
Oh,
You want to read?
sure. Okay, yeah. I'm Mick Cusimano. I'm going to read something called Archaeology. Pyramids of condos line the desert of the town. Ruins of a culture spawned by electric sound. The expedition works its way to Harvard Square. An asterisk figures in jeans over there. Stuck in the 60s like a car in the snow. Hearing old figures over there. Leaving old journeys that only he can do. His radio plays Hendrix. Wasn't it great back then? Peace marches of deadheads and psychedelic zen. Now it's computer games and high-tech blizzard. How can I compare to Jim Morrison's Lizard? The magical mystery tour has come to an end. Time can stand still, only a few pretend. Is that the Maharishi or Tim Leary on the street? He's moving closer. No, it's a policeman on his beat. Move along, hipster. Woodstock's now a pasture. Get that software over to the office one step faster. Stuck in the 60s in a car in the snow. Now, if you remember late 60s and 70s, you had this big Woodstock. It happened, 500,000 people, and they'll watch movies together in the bands. We became very close, and for the next couple of years, if you hitchhiked, you could get rides anywhere. Long hair, you get rides all over the country. Everybody was together. But nowadays, Americans just seem to be different, not together. You know, it's whites together, blacks together, women all together, all their own things. Zoom in what they want, but not. I don't feel like it's everybody getting together and feeling like the Americans as a group, you know, just, I don't know. And now with the masks and stuff, it even keeps people more alienated. So it's still kind of depressing. But anyway, I've been a poet for years, and I also been a filmmaker, and I've got a movie that's coming out, Red Line Riding Hood, Next Stop Grandma's House, which is a movie that's I've been working on for 5 years, and it's coming out for the first time October 23rd in Somerville. And so I'm pushing that forward. That's going to be in, over in Somerville. And then there's other movies that are coming out too. And this one's called Red Line Riding Hood, Next Stop Grandma's House. And I'm also doing a lot of animations. I'm doing one, well, Egyptians. I got this in out in Las Vegas a couple years ago. Kind of think, good stuff, Shocker. And do one more poem or what?
Sure, if you want to.
All right, clowns on the left, clowns on the right, clowns waking up in the middle of the night. Medieval kings give justice in the courts. Mocking the nobles was a jester's favorite sport. When jesters and knights were slept in the queen's bed, he better make the poor laugh, or it's off of his head. Clowns on the left, clowns on the right, clowns waking up in the middle of the night. Mabel rolls her hips, Fatty rolls his eyes. Fatty's getting married, and Mabel is his bride. The good cook grabs the wedding cake. Keystone cops are in pursuit. They catch him in an alley. He got one to loot. Clowns on the left, clowns on the right, clowns waking up in the middle of the night. Step right up in the circuses in town. Trapeze artists, tigers, and a jolly old clown. The human cannonball is stuffed down the barrel. Shot through the air like a disjointed sparrow. He lands in a corner where his curtain is hung. Unfortunately, it's a pile of elephant dung. Clowns on the left, clowns on the right, clowns waking up in the middle of the night, clowns on the left, clowns on the right, clowns waking up in the middle of the night. Thank you.
Thank you, Mick.
That's me.
And we're going to go to our next person on the open mic. I hope she can hear us. Nancy, if you want to read, I cannot unmute you. The only way you can do that is if you press star and 6. You have to do that yourself on the phone. So please do so now. Nancy, if you're there, can you please dial star and 6 on your phone? There we go.
I think I'm all right. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. So, ladies and gentlemen, Nancy Dotson.
Ingredients. A temple bell sounds an optimistic bell, gonging on and on. Never for your souls in the uneasiness and insecurity. Compress oneself into compassion, mercy, and empathy, and keep the spirit that might never have decay within.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you very much. Nancy's going to be heading out soon because she's going to be watching the DNC. But thank you so much, Nancy. We're going to mute you again. If you need to unmute yourself, again, it's star 6, but you should be good now.
Thank you.
And you got to do that with Carol as well, just to be on the safe side. But we are good to go for the next person on the open mic. And I'm going to. It's great to welcome her again. I welcomed her actually to kick off the last week's Stone Soup because she was the feature. Not content to rest on her laurels, you know, books coming out, her books are being reprinted, and a Stone Soup feature online. Not content to rest on her laurels. She's back again, playing the circuit, hitting the clubs, hitting the open mics. Let's welcome back Melissa Castillo-Planas.
Hi guys, how are you? So I'm going to read a two-part poem about, it's called Self-Portrait in the Times of Corona. You've aged in dog years, it seems, as you stave away the anxiety, the slow breath of each step, the only thing moving time forward. The clock is struck at 11:45 a.m., and perhaps you are too. No desire for noon to call, it's lunchtime, no desire to put fork to mouth. Still you eat the shadows of your sadness, the bread of your anxiety. Still you write paper comments and mark grades as if people aren't dying. But people are dying outside. People are dying inside, and we are not one. We are masks and gloves and terrors and sacrifices apart. This is the new survival, mine a form of self-denial, hers a life-threatening chaos of bodies and exhaustion. Ours will never be the same. 2. 8:23 a.m. Last night I set my alarm at 2:05 a.m. to get groceries. Peapod, Amazon Fresh, Instacart all sold out. So I stayed awake until 4 a.m. imagining the mask I would have to wear again. 9:28 a.m. Zoom breakfast as the new normal. Bacons, muffins, avocado toast, scrambled eggs, a veritable feast of everything but hugs, the longing for an embrace, palpable against the pixels. 11:34 a.m. We cover ourselves desperate for an escape, cramming the car with fur and doggy tongues. They wag along the ride as we imagine a future, try and escape a present. Shelter among neighborhoods. Yankee Stadium, Willis Ave, Van Cortlandt Park, Fordham Road. It is desolate outside. It is the closest I have felt to normal in a month. 1:39 p.m. This is when I learned my favorite Mexican restaurant is feeding the South Bronx homeless. I take off my mask, ask them about their days, wonder about their nights, leave with mole poblano, tacos al pastor, and a cuídate. It's the only word that can escape. 3:02. I wonder about alcoholics in the time of Corona as I watch Ben Affleck play too close to home. It scares me. The precipice is so near. 6:01 p.m. It is the saddest happy hour I've ever been a part of, but also the happiest I've been in a long time. Poems like the tips of a wine bottle. Friendships wind around the stem. 8:37 p.m. The table is cleared for the first time in months. I insist on it. It's date night, and I've made mushrooms and steak and mashed potatoes, all plated on hope for a little romance. But this stillness is hard to swallow. We choke on the ends. 10:48 p.m. I forget to floss again. Lying in bed, could not close my eyes despite the weight from last night's failures. Every minute too slow, every second too heavy. 2:02 a.m. My words are lost. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that, Melissa. And let's welcome back. Oh, Mexican. Oh, you got a book plug on the other side here. Rafiana's plugging your book, Mexican State of Mind. Should be still available to grab. Please do. I've been adding names as they've been coming in, so if someone specifically came in just to listen, let me know. But otherwise, I'm pretty sure I got your name down on the open mic list. We're going to welcome up next. Let's see. There she is, Miss Jane Spoken Word.
Hi, everybody. It's great to be here again, hear all your poetry. Nice to hear you again, Melissa. Very cool. And I'm going to do a shameless plug for Tragically Hip. This piece is called Flux, and it's from my first book. So, for my teacher, who resides on a moon, busy contemplating contemplations, that shape the reality of a dimensional self. Reminders of illusionary tactics of the mind to leave you behind. Dull your shine. Spirit beings summoned by dreams, dancing to songs of celestial bodies, listening to winds whisper silent secrets. Naked minds with no dressing as the dreamer's moon laughs at my back. Ruby sparkled sky laid out on a velvet sea, summon the moon and sweet talk the sun. Dreaming of yesterdays and Saturn's rings and diamond snow and strings, spinning theories of planks that travel on a shimmer of not too long ago memories. Triangle suns born of stories told, holes in time and pharaohs lost to days of old. I kissed the sky with rainbows gold. In the book of pages, passed down from the library of ages, eons of particles appear and disappear, expanding into the nothingness of a consciousness long forgotten. When the night falls down upon us, the beginning of the end of the beginning of the end. When the night falls down upon us, we are all allies in the silent struggle. Peace.
Thank you, Jane. That was great. Up next, past Stone Soup feature and ongoing open mic participant online. We're glad he can join us. Let's welcome up Mr. Eric Tate.
Thank you, Chad. Nice to be here. Masquerade. My girlfriend and I were the same height, and we both had long, dark hair. Holding hands in a crowd, we'd be mistaken for lesbians. But the worst part was when a burly man would tap me on the shoulder, "Excuse me, ma'am," and I'd turn around so that he could see my face, see what I was. There'd be no acknowledgement by him of his error, no embarrassed change in countenance. He'd continue to relate to me as though I were a woman. My mother would take me shopping with her, and all up and down the aisles we would hear, "What a beautiful little girl you have there." Men and women alike would make comments like this to my mother as she pushed our grocery cart along in the food world. And sometimes the exclamations were addressed to me. "What a beautiful little girl you are." I remember setting them straight at first, but after a time I learned that it was easier to forego their stammered apologies and just say thank you. Brad had a thick, beautifully trimmed jet black beard, and all the women who I cared anything about were crazy about Brad's beard. But I wasn't able to grow a beard, so I grew my hair long instead. Except that without a beard, people thought that I was a woman. Even my closest friends called attention to this fact. I needed a mustache, but the peach fuzz on my upper lip wasn't even as dark as some Italian women I'd seen walking around campus. An idea came to me while watching Revlon commercials, seeing how the models used the pencils to darken in their eyebrows, the selling point being how natural it looked, how you couldn't tell it had been drawn in, using a little at a time, making it look like a few hairs growing in, and then more over time, feeling like an artist creating a picture of a man with a mustache. I'd study the looks of other mustaches and how the hairs laid and which direction they grew. And I tried to draw in my own mustache in the same way, filling it in with strokes mingled with the peach fuzz, experimenting with how to achieve the best look, whether it be a finely sharpened pencil or a duller tip. Then one day I was in the cosmetics aisle at CVS, looking at different shades of eyebrow pencil, when I noticed a little boy studying me, regarding me like a marble statue. He turned to his mother, motioned for her to lean down to his level, and he asked his mother, "Is that a man or a woman?" The mother replied, "I don't know. Why don't you go ask?" And the two of them had a good laugh over it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eric. And we're, who do we have next? Ah, yes. This person coming up has had a long history with Stone Soup and his own publishing press, Cosmic Orange Press. I'm hoping, where is he? Ah, here he is. He is, he's actually been a host of Stone Soup in his own reading series at Out of the Blue Art Gallery back in the early aughties. Since then, he's been an entrepreneur at large, and he has been a friend to many of the older poets, many of which are sadly no longer with us, such as Walter Howard. And it's good that he is here with us today and able to join us in this time. Let's welcome up Mr. Felipe Victor Martinez.
Thank you. So I'm going to read for roughly 3.5 minutes. But yeah, I haven't read in a long time, and I miss everyone. It's been a real long time. And for a lot of the younger poets coming in, you are part of the revolution. And you need to keep doing what you're doing, keep reading, keep writing. Unfortunately, I gave up for capitalism. And it's a very tough mix to give up reading and writing for money. And because some things just pass. So with that, 3.5 minutes of Howl by Allen Ginsberg for Carl Solomon. I saw the best minds of my generation starving, destroyed by madness, starving, hysterical, naked, dragging themselves to the Negro streets at dawn, looking for an angry fix. Angel-headed hipsters burning for the ancient heavenly connection of the starry dynamo in the machinery of night, who poverty and tatters and hollow-eyed, high sat up smoking in the supernatural darkness of cold water flats, floating across the tops of cities, contemplating jazz, who bowed their brains to heaven under the L and saw Bohemian angels staggering on tenement roofs illuminated, who passed through universities with radiant, cool eyes, hallucination, Arkansas and Blake light tragedy among the scholars of war, who were expelled by the academies for crazy, publishing obscene odes by the window of the skull, who cowered in unshaven rooms and underwear, burning their money in wastebaskets and listening to the terror through the wall, who got busted in their pubic beards, returning to a Laredo with a belt of marijuana for New York, who ate fire in paint hotels and drank turpentine in Paradise Alley, death, purgatory, their torsos night after night, with dreams and drugs, with naked nightmares of alcohol and cock and endless balls. Incomparable blind streets, shuddering cloud and lightning, in the mind leaping toward poles of Canada, Patterson, illuminating all the motionless worlds of time between, peyote solitudes of Hall's backyard, green tree, cemetery dawns, wine, drunkenness, over the rooftops, storefronts, burrows of tea head, joyride, neon blinking, traffic light, sun and moon and tree vibrations, in the roaring winter dusk of Brooklyn, ash can rantings, in the kind king of minds, who chained themselves to subways for the endless ride from Battery to Holy Bronx on Benzedrine until the noise of the whales and the children brought them down, shuddering mouth racked and battered, bleak brain all drained of brilliance in the drear light of zoo. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Victor. And welcome back. Yeah, it's been a while. We're so glad to good to see you. Up next on tonight's exciting. Oh, let's bring back the person who had to go for a job interview. Imagine a poet actually staking out for money. Another poet who sold out to capitalism. He did in between the break. No, let's. He had a job interview. I hope it was successful. He seems dressed for the occasion. Let's bring. He was our intended number 3 on the open mic, but we started a little late, so he had to leave a little bit for a little while. He's here now. Let's welcome up Mr. Bill Lewis.
What a pleasure to be with you, my friends. How long has it been? As long as I have this option to stand and read my poetry as beautifully as I can, I shall take advantage of my opportunities. I'm not quite awake because I gave a talk in New Zealand at 2 a.m. So, wow, I'm not used to that anymore. Yeah. This is something that I wrote when I was in high school. I just thought it would be fun to look at. My teacher would let me go out at lunchtime and just do whatever I wanted, which was, of course, write stories. And she was one of these teachers who were like kind of crazy, flaky. She was an older woman. She was like 25 or 30. I don't know. She was, you know, but she let me do stuff, and she was actually really neat at the same time. So she asked us to do characterizations. He awoke slowly, the stench of the last meal his stomach rejected, filling his nostrils. He rolled over onto his elbows, his eyes failing to adjust to the darkness. The only sound in the building was the heavy thumping of his heart and the creaking of the bed springs. His left hand started pulling paper bags out from under the bed. The dull clink of empty beer cans met his ears. 3 bags of empty beer cans he pulled out under the bed, not even noticing the cockroaches sliding across his hand and into the room. From underneath the bed, his hand felt a 6-pack all full. He clutched the bag, ripped one can violently from its companions. His other hand, searching for the pull tab, there wasn't one. He stopped to reflect upon the age of the can, feeling the heavy-set rust covering it. He staggered over to the dresser. There was a can over there somewhere, a can opener there somewhere. He met the challenge by putting 2 holes in the top, approximately opposite sides of the can, without puncturing himself. He fell back onto the bed without taking a step. The beer can meeting his lips at the same time, sloshing its contents over him and down his throat. He guzzled half the can in 3 swigs. He failed to notice the evil taste of the old liquid. Then he dropped off to sleep, letting the can fall from the edge of the bed. The cockroaches gathered at the spitting of the beer. Boy, I was a great high school student. I had some of the stories I wrote are really I'm not going to read some of these to you, but okay, Chad, your turn. Nope, you're still
I thought you said you were going to read something, so I just didn't know if there was a pause. But anyway, my bad. We're going to bring us now to, is he still here? He jumped around a bit. Here he is. Ladies and gentlemen, and someone else who's been new to our weekly gathering. It's been great to hear him be added to our mix of voices. Let's welcome up Mr. Phil, aka Midnight.
How's it going, Chad?
Good to hear you again.
I'm glad I didn't miss because I'm 2 hours behind you.
This is also good. I should put ET next time, next to the 7 and 9 next time. Some people forget.
I'm good. I'll do a haiku or two, and then I'll do a piece. Do without thinking. Child pushes nothing on plate. We toss leftovers. Job or career. Work will work your fucking nerves. Paycheck to paycheck. Let me do a piece. Have you heard the news today? Another black man was gunned down. Witness says his hands were in the air, surrendering, cooperating. Hands up, down on knee. Cop says stop resisting. Sounds of a gunshot. Have you heard the news today? Where a white suspect was characterized as brilliant, athletic, a devoted Mormon whose demons caused him to kill his loved ones. Compare that to various black bodies. The perception through systemic racism. Montgomery's latest victim had a history of narcotic abuse. The young man was previously suspended from school. This and that victim had run-ins with the law. Unsympathetic character assassination. Have you heard the news today? Where another brother was zip-locked, body-bagged, conflicting the officer oath. I solemnly swear to never betray badge, integrity, character, or the public trust. Yet throughout history, the Black community has had issues with law enforcement enforcing it wrongly. Also in breaking news, peaceful protests was met with military gear, pistols drawing their own conclusions, bringing tension in the air. Freddie Gray, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, names that were never meant to be used in metaphors or put on the headlines of newspapers. Have you heard the news today? The sad yet true story is the same as yesterday. Have you heard? Have you heard? Have you heard the news today?
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Phil. And let's we're getting closer to the end of a great night. Let us bring up next. It's funny. I've gone through all this whole time without even plugging Oddball Magazine. I usually do that on a regular basis, but this time I can actually plug Oddball Magazine and introduce the publisher of Oddball Magazine, who will be coming up to read. Last week, I announced that Oddball finally hit its nonprofit 501.3 status, and it's largely due to the efforts of this man and his team behind the scenes. Been taking advantage of the quiet time out there to not be quiet and to actually get Oddball up to the next step, and we appreciate his efforts in doing that. And we appreciate his column, Jagged Thoughts, which is every Tuesday at 1 o'clock without fail, unless it's this week and I had a 35-page essay to edit and put on the oddballmagazine.com. But at any rate, enough about that. Go to oddballmagazine.com and let's listen to the works of its editor-publisher, Jason Wright.
By the way, that essay was awesome. I read the whole thing and it was really great. About Axl Rose. I definitely recommend reading it. Yep, my name is Jason Wright. I'm an editor over at oddballmagazine.com, and read my poem from today. Full disclosure, I was reading a little Bukowski lately, and it kind of came out of me here. He just turned 100, so happy birthday to him. He's been dead since 1994, so he's dead, but he'd be 100 if he was alive. So
he's still grumpy now.
He's incredibly grumpy, and these two. I wrote two poems after reading. Here, you know what? There's a poem called "So You Want to Be a Writer" by Charles Bukowski, and I have a workshop. And I was messing around, and I wrote this poem. It's kind of stupid, so I'm gonna read it for you. It's called "Don't Do the Boat Thing." It's like, so you want to be a writer, but don't do the boat thing. Don't do the boat thing. Just don't do it. When I say the ship in the bottle thing, I mean it. Don't do it. Throw that bottle into the sea and do something else. Sew a flag of your favorite football team. That boat thing, don't do it. I mean, why? Play a video game. Don't do the video game thing. Don't do it. Waste your brain on a model train wondering peace through pain will come back again. Learn a skill like carpentry. Jesus did it, so why not? We all need tables and shelves. Wow your friends. Climb a tree and pounce on a piglet. Wrap a present in a bow and light it on fire. Say just for you, a piece of shit for a piece of shit. Or maybe take those broken puzzle pieces and glue them to the side of your car. Call it art. Just do it, baby. Cut the legs 3 inches off your tabletop so everyone needs new chairs to sit and eat your Thanksgiving. Old Charlie Brown, kick a football and pay for sex, break a glass just to clean up the mess. But don't play video games. Maybe try the boat thing. Don't try the boat thing. Don't do it. Don't buy a boat and pretend to sail it. If you just put it in the water, it might sink. That's a risk. Don't do it. Sing with the sharks, baby, in your tightest outfit. Do that. That's a good idea, Scuba Steve with cut-off sleeves. Baby, you're going places. Maybe you will be a video game, playing ship in the bottle on repeat as you try and beat the boss. Oh, baby, you were going to be a star, but oh, please, don't you buy that boat to do it.
Nice.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jason. Oddballmagazine.com. And up next,
thank you.
We have our penultimate closers, our 1-2 punch. We do have someone who just joined. If ES, if you want to read, you'll have to unmute yourself, but you're more than welcome to.
Okay. Sure. So I wasn't going to come today just because I was busy with things, and I wrote no insult to anyone. This is called Playing Hooky from the Poetry. I'm skipping out on the poetry meeting, like some teenager on a Friday. Half a tank of gas and enough fuck do I have anything else for. Let the words fly by me like wind. Oh, my internet's bad. Can you hear me? Oh dear.
Maybe you want to start over.
I don't know if the internet dropped.
Maybe you want to start over. It was a little jumpy.
Okay, yeah, I don't know why, but my internet just did one of those, we're dropping your connection warning.
Well, you seem okay now.
Okay, sorry everyone. I guess I'll just take it from the top. Playing hooky from the poetry meeting. I'm skipping out on the poetry meeting, like some teenager on a Friday. Half a tank of gas and enough moxie. What the fuck do I need anything else for? Let the words fly by me like wind. If I catch them, they'll just taste overly bitter. So tired of being sicky sweet. Let it fall. Red leather, black letter, floor letter, bed sweater, get better. Society's dog, red sweater, hair in tangles. Wrapped up in a I built when I wasn't looking. Look at chainsaw. A house is just complicated. I can deconstruct whatever the fuck or don't. Poetry can be meeting go round, or it can be in the circle of my fist, beating a rhythm on this dark metaphorical dashboard. Or a war cry. Why is sunset so damn red today? Turn the music up louder than thought. I got other place to be. That's it.
Thank you, ES. All your other great poems, you weren't intending to come here. You weren't intending to come to Stone Soup anyway, but you did, and you read it, and it was good. This is your trend. Anytime you say, "I don't really want to do this. I don't want to really read this. This isn't ready," you always do a great poem.
Thank you.
You're like the Jeannie Garofalo. You're always downplaying yourself, and yet you're doing.
I don't know who that is, but I'll.
It's a compliment. Don't worry.
Okay.
But we are on our way to our closing group now, and I'm hoping. Let me see. Blackbird, are you ready? You ready to fly, Blackbird? Uh-oh. Blackbird might not be ready. Well, in lieu of Blackbird not being ready, I do want to at least get two of our closers. They've been here almost since the beginning, and oops, she might actually be back. Blackbird, are you ready? Nope. Okay, so we're gonna bring it to our the person who usually she might actually be ready now. Blackbird, if you're ready, can you signal? Can you unmute yourself? And here we have problems. Okay. All right, until Blackbird can make herself heard, which I hope she can, we're gonna go to our other penultimate closer. You can check out his work every Thursday morning without fail, 11 o'clock a.m. It's All One Thing, his weekly poem column, which has been going on, I think it's 6 years now, is a regular a staple column at oddballmagazine.com, where he talks about everything from song to Boston history to national history to local figures and friends like Bill Barnum, Jack Powers, of course, the quintessential All One Thing. What is it? What does it mean? You'll find out if you keep on reading long enough. And much more to come. The occasional Labyrinth poem, which we love because he draws labyrinths near the Boston Common as often as he possibly can. This is his work. It's ongoing. He'll never stop, and I love it. Let's welcome up Mr. James Van Looy.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. So I've just been actually rereading this history, so I wanted to read this piece from a few years ago, but I think it's actually really sort of indicative and a reminder of the sort of depth of the movement that we're actually all feeling all around us in this time of tremendous, huge change going on. And this is a piece called Jonah on the Tell of Nineveh. And I think it's pretty self-explanatory. As adolescent atheist, for a paper I wrote on the irreconcilable gods of the Old and New Testaments, I read the Bible about cover to cover, only to wonder why it was Jonah the prophet found it so odious to preach judgment to the people of Nineveh that he fled God's mission deep in the hold of a ship, sleeping as a great storm sent by God threatens to overwhelm the vessel. So the sailors throw lots which fall on Jonah, who admits his rebellion brought God's storm on them all. So reluctantly they pitch him over the side into the sea, where a great fish, the Leviathan whale, was appointed to swallow him up, so that he was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the beast until he prayed to be allowed to go to Nineveh. What's this thing between Nineveh and Jonah? Now I see on Yahoo Scroll the story about how in the over 4-month siege of the Iraqi city of Mosul, the Iraq Shiite government forces have taken the site of the tomb of Jonah, which was blown up by fighters of the IS, Islamic State, the new caliphate, declared in 2014 after a few thousand insurgents took the city from tens of thousands of US trained and equipped Iraqi government forces who fled after their officers absconded to Kurdistan. With Jonah's tomb out of the way, the fundamentalist fighters proceeded to dig down under in search of archaeological plunder, and the mound on which the mock stood turned out now to be an ancient foundation tell that held a 2,600-year-old Assyrian palace, because as legend had held all along, Mosul was really the ancient capital of the Assyrian Empire, the city of Nineveh. The Syrians were a rude crew who put together the first interregional empire, uniting the northern Nile and Tigris-Euphrates river valleys, and were famous for flaying captives alive. So they left what may be the first descriptions of what we named Soldier's Heart in Civil War, Shell Shock, World War I, Combat Fatigue, WW2, and of course, Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder, PTSD, from Vietnam era vets, and now the Forever War vets too. 2,700 years ago, these Assyrians conquered the northern kingdom of Israel, of which Jonah was a prophet, and to transport their elites to far reaches of exile, become known as the 10 lost tribes of Israel. So no wonder, after all, Jonah did not want to be sent to Nineveh to warn of God's impending wrath if they did not repent and immediately change their ways. But oh, what a miracle that those left behind by this horror of the birth of empire put first a Christian, then Islamic shrine to the prophet of the northern Jewish kingdom on top the grand palace of its conqueror. And the deep down in the striated tell of the palace, the Yahoo scroll shows a picture of bas-relief of 3 fine female forms who disperse the water of life with their willow wand scepters, just like the wise women of the Standing Rock water protectors who stood, I think, like sturdy stone against the black snake pipeline of tar sand oil dug across the guts of our continent that threatens the water of life here and now. Thank you very much. Agent Orangehead, occupant in White House, executive order, not. And here's a little song for the ladies. 5'2", eyes of blue, but oh, what those 5 foot could do. Has anybody seen my gal? Turned up nose, turned down hose, flapper, yes sir, one of those. Has anybody seen my gal? Now if you run into a 5'2", covered with furs, diamond rings, all those things, bet your life it isn't her. But could she love? Could she woo? Could she coo? Has anybody seen my gal? Has anybody seen my gal?
Very nice, James. Thank you all very much. Unless someone wants to do an encore, we might have to end tonight. I was hoping Blackbird might make a return, but she may be, I don't know where she was, but she may be beyond our bandwidth right now. So unless someone wants to read again.
Chad.
Yeah.
Hey, Chad. Chris said she wants to read.
Oh, Chris, come on up.
Hi, Chad.
Chris on the call, everybody.
Sorry. Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm glad you came on again.
Oh, happy to be here. All right. So this is Remember Woman. Remember woman, you were born, life giver, miracle creator, magic maker. You were born with the heart of 1,000 mothers, open and fearless and sweet. You were born with the fire of queens and conquerors, warriors, blood you bled. You were born with the wisdom of sages and shamans. No wound can you not heal. You were born the teller of your own tale. Before no one, excuse me, before no one should you kneel. You were born with an immeasurable soul reaching out past infinity. You were born to desire with passion, abandon, and to name your own destiny. Remember, woman, remember you are more than you can see. Remember, woman, remember you are loved endlessly. Remember, woman, your power and grace, the depth of your deep sea heart. Never forget you are woman, divine, as you have been from the beginning of time.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Sorry it was so late.
No problem. You're on. That's all we need. Come back next week.
Absolutely.
And with that, we'll call the open mic to a close. I could not get the person I wanted to announce his feature next week to reach me. Hopefully that'll happen between now and Friday. We're going to have a lot of, I should have a lot more time in the next couple of days now that a lot of the house stuff is out of the way and there's just a lot of waiting and a lot of approvals going on. So, and a lot of picking out furniture that our relatives want to give, both my relatives and my girlfriend's relatives want to give us. So it'll be a lot of waiting. So hopefully I'll be able to announce a lot of things. And thanks to Melissa, who in advance sent me information regarding future features from New York. So we're gonna take Stone Soup National for a little while and hopefully bring a lot more people from outside of Boston. It's great always having Boston voices, but let's keep this going. And I never expected to be hosting Stone Soup like this for more than a couple of months, let alone an entire summer and the rest of the year. But for the sake of everybody who is enjoying this and keeping on, let's keep this going and let's keep on connecting. Let's expand the Stone Soup web as long as it can. Go to Oddball Magazine and share your words with Jason and us. We're still doing COVID-themed poetry. We have some great stuff this week. The essay that Jason was referring to earlier basically follows the lifetime of a Guns N' Roses fan from age 13, following the problematic Axl Rose to realizing he may just be woke. It's a very fun piece, and there's also great pieces by, of course, I published them like less than 4 hours ago, so of course I forget who they are. Mark Blickley was our finisher for today. He often does photography collaborations. He does poems based on photographs. He did this for this particular entry. He did a COVID-themed poem inspired by a photo by Beatrice Georgialitis, I believe is how you pronounce it. And then we also had CJ Pendergast with artwork by I can't pronounce anything today, Anaya Dasgupta. And I'm hoping we can get more COVID-themed art, and things don't seem to be ending anytime soon. Things are going to be complicated, and I've even predicted that we're going to have a special section for Oddball after the election, no matter who wins, called the Fustercluck season. It's going to be a new world, no matter what happens. So I suggest we prepare ourselves, buckle down, keep the art going, and do what you have to do. It's going to be chaos no matter what, but let's make the right decisions in our hearts and get out there or stay in there or mail in there. If we even have mailboxes or post offices left by the end of this week. Oh, good God, I can't cover everything in one sitting. But stay tuned and keep creating, keep writing, and more importantly, contribute as however you can, whether it's by sending your work out or just by coming here. It's very much appreciated. Check out the Stone Soup shows from weeks and months past, including the 49th anniversary celebration from back in May, to Melissa's own feature from last week. We've had some great stuff. We're going to continue to have great stuff coming. And I thank you all for your contributions and for helping this grow and helping the community grow. And with that, let's all give the obligatory wave at the end so we can have a great snapshot for tomorrow. Thank you guys oh so very much. I'll leave you guys talk here for about a couple of minutes, and then we'll pull the plug. But have yourself a fantastic evening. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else.